Hi students, welcome to biology class. First of all, let me ask you a question. What is biology? The word biology we can split into two, bios and logos. Bios means life and logos means study. So simply what is biology? Study of life, which includes study of humans, plants, animals, microorganisms, etc. So let me ask you another question. Who is the father of biology? Yes, Aristotle is the father of biology. He revealed his thoughts about various aspects of the life of plants and animals. So therefore, Aristotle is called as the father of biology. So we can define biology as a study of life, living things and evolution of life. Today we are going to begin with a new lesson or new chapter from the unit 1, Diversity in Living World, class 11th, and the chapter is the living world. And the topics to be covered here in these chapters are introduction, characteristics of life, diversity in life, binomial nomenclature, need for nomenclature, classification, taxonomy, taxonomic categories and taxonomical aids. So as we come to the chapter, the living world, the first question is, what is life? So life is a unique complex organization of molecules expressing through chemical reactions which leads to growth, development, responsiveness, adaptation and reproduction. Or else we can define it as, life is defined as any system capable of performing functions such as eating, metabolizing, excreting, breathing, moving, growing, reproducing and responding to external stimuli. Now what is living organism? A living organism is self-replicating, evolving and self-regulating interactive system capable of responding to external stimuli. That means we are able to respond to the stimuli, right? Self-multiplying, self-dividing and evolving, able to adjust to the particular environmental conditions, adaptations, etc. Now, what are the features of a living organisms, or what are the characteristics of a living organisms, which you already learned in your lower classes? So, what are the properties of a living organism, or characteristics, or the features? Yes, they are the growth, reproduction, metabolism, cellular organization and consciousness. So, these properties we are going to discuss in detail. So first we will discuss about growth. What is growth? Growth simply means what? Increase in size, right? That is increase in the number and mass of cells by cell division. And in plants, growth continues throughout their lifespan. But in animals, we all know growth is only up to a certain age. However, cell division occurs to replace the lost cell. Means what? There can be any damages occur to any of the cells, and repairing cell division occurs to replace the damaged cells. So, cell division occurs to replace the lost cell. Basically, growth is the increase in size, right? But there are certain cases in the non-living things, in the non-living objects, where growth occurs. For example, in the mountains, then the sand mounds, etc. They also grow in size, right? So they grow in size due to the accumulation of materials on the surfaces. So growth is not actually a defining property of living organisms. But in living organisms, growth is from inside. Understood? So there are some non-living objects where growth, they increase in size due to the accumulation of materials. So growth is not defining property of a living organism, but in living organisms, growth is from inside. And next is reproduction. You know, reproduction means what? Reproducing, right? It is the production of progeny having features similar to those of parents. Means what? It's a production of offsprings or the babies who is having the characteristics received from their parents, right? And organisms reproduce sexually as well as asexually. So this we have already learned in your 10th standard, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction in detail, right? Asexual reproduction such as budding. Then there itself you discussed about binary fission, multiple fission, regeneration, fragmentation, vegetative propagations, etc., which are the asexual mode of reproduction. Then sexually you have learned in the case of plants as well as in the animals, right? And next, here in the unicellular organisms, growth and reproduction are same because they reproduce by cell division. You know that amoeba and all, as it is a single celled organisms, growth and reproduction are same only because cell division occurs. They multiply by cell division and they grow by cell division. They reproduce by cell division. And in some cases such as organisms like the mules, worker bees, and there are people who are infertile. Yes, infertile couple, those who are not able to give rise to or reproduce a baby or a offsprings, right? So hence can we say that reproduction is a perfect defining factor of living organism? Yes, so reproduction is not a perfect defining property of living organism because there are certain organisms who do not reproduce. Next comes the metabolism. So what do you mean by metabolism? So it is the sum total of all biochemical reactions occurring in our body or inside our body. Or else metabolism is a process by which your body converts what you eat, drink into energy. That means a set of life-sustaining chemical reactions in the organisms. Yes, so it is the defining factor of living organisms. But metabolic reactions can be demonstrated outside the body also, outside the body in a cell-free system. Yes, so in a test tube. So isolated metabolic reactions, that means which is in vitro, are not living things but are living reactions. That you have to keep in your mind. They are not living things but they are living reactions. And next comes the cellular organization. Cellular organization in the sense, you know, unicellular organisms, multicellular organisms, right? So organisms are made up of one or more cells. So it is the defining feature of living organisms. And next is the consciousness. So consciousness means it is the ability of an organism to sense their environment and respond to environmental stimuli like light, water, temperature, other organisms, chemicals, pollutants, etc. So one simple example, you know about the touch me not. Yes, and which you have already learned in your 10th standard, that is hydrotropism, then phototropism, chemotropism, etc. So all organisms are aware of their surroundings. So it is the defining property of a living organism. Yes, and one speciality is there in human. Human is the only organism having self-consciousness. So human is the only organism having self-consciousness. So these are the properties of a living organisms which we discussed, that is the growth, reproduction, metabolism, cellular organization and consciousness. So next we need to discuss about the diversity in the biodiversity in the living organisms, and which we are going to discuss in the next video. So thank you.